Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Big news day today. ENNC. Take a look at ENNC. Okay, I'm looking at ENNC purely because it popped to a level. It was a benchmark 2 that I've been waiting for some time here. 2 levels. It was a little bit messy here. We got to benchmark 1, benchmark 2, 2 benchmark 2s. We're sitting up here, which is not normally usual, but it was messy at the lows before it broke out. So we was, or what we saw happen was this liquidity pool here, which was driven from this low to this high, created this pool here. We dipped into level 2 of that liquidity pool. There's 1 there, 2 and 3. We got to level 2 and off we ran to the highs. Now, in fact, I was waiting for those highs, and the closes were acknowledging the first one, and the second one is kind of the highs. But what I've done here, rather than jumping straight away, which you could have, is drawing the seller's hold level at the top. Now, the only thing with sellers hold levels at the tippy top of benchmark 2s is if this is going to be a top, and this is an 80% chance, 80% chance that benchmark 2s work, 20% chance it can run again and do another set of benchmarks, but generally these can hold, and we've been waiting for some time for this. So if they don't need that liquidity up as high as it's just wicked, it doesn't always go in there, but at the moment this is kind of the play. So we're stair stepping up. So as I saw that high just a minute ago, I drew that low in, and that's where we are sitting, smacking this pool. Now, like I said, they don't have to go to it. They've gone halfway from the drop already. It's just holding these levels up as we're stair stepping. If we crash below these, bear in mind it might not need it. Okay, but that's what I'm seeing on ENSC at the moment. Let's see what we've got. Yeah, I think that's holding quite tight on there at the moment. So yeah, let's see if we can get a best entry in at 250 and see if that can hold. Obviously be aware, if this fails, that could shoot up on the open, so just be ready for that. What else did we have this morning? One I liked, where was it? GHSI was one I posted up earlier on, and it was just so good. Yeah, oh my life, it happened again. Okay, so I posted this morning when we was here. Okay, so this price action wasn't there. I don't know if I can bring that in. Is my Discord sitting about in there somewhere? Where was it?
Six.
GHS. So there it is. Look, can I copy this? Can I copy it? Copy, yes. Okay, so let's bring this in for you guys. It was here earlier, okay? Paste that in. Paste it in. Quick, come on. I'm just going to show you then. I can't see what I need to refresh this chat. I can't seem to paste a little picture in there, which I know you can. Little one more go here. GHSI. We'll try. Okay, I'm going to show you because I just can't paste it in there right now. I might need to refresh that stream. It was here. So GHSI near benchmark 2, rejected, sellers hold. Watch for play between buyers hold and sellers hold. So watch for a buy at this point down here at kind of like 9ish, 9.25, 9.15. Look for a sell up there at 12.19. We could bounce in between there for pre-market. And this is what happened. We came in for another bounce down here at the buyer's hold, double bottom right there, straight off up again into the level, straight back down. I then drew another one, which is this level coming down here from top to bottom. That give us this seller's hold. It's just tapped into there at 10.90 and it's coming off 10.17 right now. So, or 9.10, sorry, 9.10 right now. So the only thing to add on this one is that benchmark 2 was just a little bit higher, but we have this bogey level that seems to be preventing that at the moment, which is in between, like literally just I roughly just throw a line in between these levels, 50% between there, and that is what has kind of held the price this morning. So that could be the high of the day. Now it could also be high of just pre-market, and you could see this buyer's hold level continue to run. So keep an eye on this. If we break through this seller's hold, we could punch up to 14 before we drop down. But 14, there's an 80% chance of, I think, holding these levels up there on GHSI. KXIN, I took a look at what happened there. The KXIN, I took a look at. I would draw the levels in and see how we go. So this is what we've done on this one. From this swing, we went to benchmark 1 here. Benchmark 2 is sitting further up. I haven't heard it on the scanner since. This was, I guess, about 4 time was it when it hit the scanner? Yeah, 4:40 this morning. This hit the scanner and went straight to benchmark 1 and then rejected off benchmark 1. And now the buyer's hold level failed to hold. We do have a bigger buyer's hold level if you want to look at it down here. So right from these lows, I'm going to tell you, oh, that's where it's gone for. Okay, so right to the highs. Here, there is a buyer's hold level sitting there. Let's mark that up. That is a green level there. That's a buyer's hold level 2. Pop it on there. Right, that is KXIN. So for KXIN now, what have we potentially got? This buyer's hold level failed. Okay, so I'm going to leave it across. It's very tight, right? I'm going to leave it there, but it's failed. It's negated at this point. What isn't negated at this point is because we've got a new low in, so that's probably going to bring the seller's hold level down a tad. Okay, so just a little bit. We're going to bring that in. It's just a little bit down, just a little bit wider now. So at this point, KXIN, I haven't heard it on the scanner since, but KXIN could be finished for the day. Yeah, it is still above the manipulation zone. So all the while it's above the manipulation zone, you would expect to get to benchmark 1, which is already done pre-market. If it's going to have a second wind and go for its benchmark 2, we're sitting up there at 125-ish, then you need to wait for 2 things. Buyers hold to work again, so you need to see green coming out, which you are at the moment, and sellers hold has to fail. So this could be a short back down from 85 to 68. If this fails, you could go to benchmark 2 at 125. So just be careful on KXIN. Like I said, I haven't seen volume coming back on the scanners yet, but we'll listen out for that. Let me just make sure I've got the audio on here. Check. Yeah, I've got the audio on, so that should come through loud and clear. Let me just double check that. Yeah, okay. That's KXIN. Let me just see what ENSC is doing. I think it's coming off. ENSC. Yeah, so yeah, we didn't get to the seller's hold level. Like I said, sometimes when that job is done at benchmark 2, it just doesn't quite get there. It's normally good for the shorts at that point to come down off here. What I will do, because the market hasn't opened yet and we can still get that push up, is that I will draw in another buyer's hold level because that's how it works. That's how it rolls. So we are going to mark that up as a buyer's hold. That's a liquivision level. The liquivision liquidity pool. Okay, so that's what it's going to say. So that is what we're targeting for this move down. If we can hold it, there's a buyer's hold level there. There's two swings here going on. You start to draw in these micro levels to see what's going on. If you want to know who's in control, you can draw the micro levels. So a micro buyer would be here. So this level would have to hold for the buyers to remain in control, else you're going down to 170, 160. And similarly here, if the sellers are going to remain in control after this, there's going to be a micro pull sitting here. Okay, so that's how we are working it. And that's what we look out for. So if we break, so this level is already negated because there are 3 areas of liquidity sitting here right at the top, just below the middle actually, and the bottom. We've broken through it. So the difference is it could be absorbing and reversing at this level. Now it's not, but you can absorb and reverse, or you can absorb all the orders there and it just drops because there are no more buy orders, and therefore it drops to the next sell liquidity pool, which is what it's doing now. So, and I'd expect that because it's hit benchmark 2. Okay, so the short is still on there from 194 down to 170. We'll see how that holds up at 170. This is where it just came from, down at 140. So yeah, 160, 170. We'll see if it can play for a retest. All right, but that would simply be a retest up to this seller's hold level or this area up here. This will continue to move down as the price moves down with it. Okay, these pulls are not, until an agreed low is in, these pulls do not remain fixed. They move, which is why it can be so challenging to trade. So here you go. We're pushing on down to this 175 level right now. We'll see how far we get. Okay, what else we got now? ITRM, kind of talking about yesterday. What's happening here? We're in a big level by the looks of it. Let's have a look at the higher time frame. So ITRM had a big daily level on it, right? And it went to benchmark 1 yesterday of the daily level. Went to benchmark 1. Benchmark 2 was sitting up there at $5, but obviously, as you can see, it went down, and also the buyer's hold level failed on this. So it started popping up on the scanner this morning again about 4 a.m. So we're back into the manipulation zone now. So the gap that we wanted to trade previously was from here, breaking out of the manipulation zone to here. It went straight to their pre-market yesterday. It didn't hold for another trade. By the looks of it, it just faded. Yeah, it did appear on the scanner today, but it seems like a little bit of a lackluster. No more volume coming out on that. However, so we failed the buyer's hold this morning as well. There was a little buyer's hold here, but it doesn't seem to be doing anything. It's not a favourite of mine unless it appears on the scanners this morning. To do so, it would have to break out of this manipulation zone, and B, break above 185, 190 at the seller's hold liquidity pool in order to get to 220 or 280. There's a bigger swing seller's level now based on this whole swing down. So that would need to hit the scanners again on momentum volume coming in. If not, that is not one for me today. So another one pre-market called at 4 o'clock that's been just working its way nicely through the levels. This was a double stacked pool here. So yeah, we kind of had a big long swing up out of this. It wasn't chopped. We kind of trended out of this manipulation zone. So this whole move has its own liquidity pool. And then I've drawn in this morning's one, which was this pre-market low to that pre-market high, which predicts these levels here. Now, actually, it didn't really want to move that out of the way just for a second. Yeah, it just went to use all three levels of the previous one. So 1, 2, there just below middle, and 3. And that third level held. And the first level of the other side. So then you come out of that, you power out of it, go straight to the seller's hold level. So there was a long on down here at 6.56 this morning. As soon as it got there and rejected off, there was a short at 3.40s, back down to exactly the same place. Now, if we are looking, this is a switch on, liquidity provider switch on. It tends to acknowledge both pulls at that time. If you're in the market at that time, obviously you can, if your broker shows you that whipsaw when the machines get switched on, then you'll certainly see your P&L whip up and down at that point, and then remain normally exactly where it was the bar before. But it is an acknowledgement of those levels. Now, so if we're drawing the most recent ones, we're following this through. So you now have a buyer's liquidity pool here. So this one's actually finished because it took them all out. All right. At this point down here, it took them all out. So we're going to use this one. This is the most recent, but it's not the most recent buy liquidity pool, actually. I'll tell you why. And this is why the market's always moving, and I don't look left for these levels. The most I'll do is look at AHT, some the previous session, to draw some forward-looking formulas that are applied through liquivision, and that's generally, you know, what I do. But you can see here, this pre-market low to this pre-market high that we pulled earlier, when that comes down, it works its way out again. Now the machines are switched on, goes in there again and takes it out here. So really this level is also negated. Morning, Caesar, how you doing? Hope you are well. Thanks for coming along to the stream. So this worked out this morning. This actually took out that liquidity pool. So this liquidity pool is now negated on that swing, so we can move it over. But as always, we're drawing all the time. Now that seller's hold level up there really is negated because we pushed through it as well, but you draw the next pull, and that is why we held when they switched the machines on. So there's a level up here. So this is the most recent one that didn't get fully taken out through its highs. Thank you very much, Caesar. Okay, so that's the latest liquidity pool that the sellers would need to hold. Yeah, so there's offers sitting up there, and that one really is negated, but they're very, very close. And then we're doing the same down here, right? This is the most recent swing. Put it up there, and notice that these are not static levels between a low and a high. It's not like a fib retracement, you see, because if this price level to this price level up here at 350 was more aggressive, meaning, let's get this drawing. Where can I draw? Yeah, so say this price action went straight up. Where's that pathway? In trouble. What's that? Get rid of that. Yeah, so if we went from here, instead of going from here to here, if we went from here to here quicker, right? So if this trend here like carried on bang, bang, bang all the way up, the liquidity pool would be lower. It just so, whereas a fib would still be, you know, at 60% or whatever it is. But if we didn't go at that level, as we move across, right, we're still keeping it at 350, but you can see the liquidity pool moves down and down and down and down. The more aggressive, if it spikes right up, it's going to be a lot further down. So that's why you can get some really aggressive moves like this one. A really aggressive move, and I've taken the low right down there, but a really aggressive move can, if you just took that low to that high, would have a liquidity pool much lower than if that had taken double the time. The pool would be higher. So that's why we keep drawing these. And this one, what do we got here? So we got the two most latest ones really that we're working through. If I ignore the liquidity switch on, you can see the buyers are holding here. That one has been used. If I use the liquidity pool on the downside, we're not quite there. That's still valid, but I'll leave the one that's above because it's wider. And then right here, right now, is the most recent buyers hold level. So buyers are holding price at this point in time. Sellers are holding their higher level at this price at this point in time. So this remains the seller's hold. This remains the most recent buy. This one is still intact because it only touched its first level. All right, so that's MINM. Where could we expect to go if we break out? And this is the thing about MIM, which I like, is that it's got room. So it has room up to here, this $4.60 to $5 level. And then there's one up there at 7. So benchmark 1, benchmark 2 sitting up there. It's quite regular that price gets trapped between two levels in order to go somewhere else, in order to break out. Okay, but it's not kind of a regular, but it's not just a breakout of 326 here, 322, 326, because that would get stopped at 350. Not to say there's not a trade on here, but the trade on here is between 307 and about 340, because the buyers seem to be holding that at the moment, and we could take him further to this level. So that's MINM for you. ASMB. Why is ASMB in there? That must have shouted out this morning. Don't think I draw. Oh, I did draw something on it. Okay, let's have a look at ASMB. Now, ASMB is a daily play, so it's a swing trade. It's been going on for ages, so you don't necessarily expect a huge amount of it in any given day. This has been going up a few cents a day, but still the benchmark is at the daily benchmark is at kind of 130, 140, and there's also one up at 184, 190. But remember, so there's always a macro daily sellers hold level up there that's kind of aligned with the benchmark here. So watch out for that at 150-ish or 140 to 150-ish. I don't know whether you like that or not, but that's a continuation play that's just probably holding, when we look at the smaller time frame, holding every buyer's hold level, every buyer liquidity pool there is being utilized and being pushed up. That doesn't mean to say that today's not the day where you could get a massive exhaustion candle where it just runs for one of these levels. Okay, so we'll just be aware from that. We will listen out to the order flow scanners as they come up when the market goes live. Looking down, just jump. I normally do 2 minutes, but just to look at a 5 minutes to see what's happening here. You can just generally see that if you use any swing here, if you think you missed the boat, so we don't get in this zone down here because it can just accumulate forever down here. But once it's broken out of that zone, we do look then for buyers hold levels to hold. So whether you go for the most recent low here, you just keep tracking it up, or I can't actually get that in. You keep tracking it up at that point, and you see we just tap into it. And when these are strong uptrends, that's my definition of an uptrend, is that the buyers hold levels continue to work. You just keep dragging them up to the highs there, and then you bring them across, and you can see that they hold very, very well. Sometimes they tack in, sometimes they use all three levels. Nevertheless, when they come back out, the trend continues, and you could continue to do this every session that is actually gone through. You can see the buyer held. As soon as you tacked into there, you can use that as your new level. Up you go, and just carry on chasing it up, and you'll see that this works. Yes, you would also pull to the downside, but I wouldn't be looking for shorts on this because we're in between the manipulation zone and the benchmark. That's the meat of the move. That's where you want to take your money. After that, if it goes to benchmark 2 above it, then okay, that's an additional bonus. But we know we've got some sellers being offered up there, some resistance up there that is potential. These lines, they're just kind of targets. If you're getting in and out, you can use these as targets and then wait for the next pullback. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes they crash straight through on these small caps. So that's what we're looking for. Oh, and what I was going to say, the sell side, yes, you would draw the sell side. And it's not to say that the sell side doesn't work and get acknowledged. It's just that sometimes it's just a little trap for a while. And then the buyers are still in control. So all the while these buy levels hold, you expect to go up and you expect your sells to fail. But obviously it's acknowledged here, another one that's acknowledged here. Then it passes through at this level and runs to the next one. That's kind of what happens on these small caps. Okay, so not a lot on today. Obviously, we've got some news on the economic calendar. Huge amount of news coming out of the US today. What's the big one later on? The Fed interest rate decision here at 7 p.m. I don't know. Actually, is that currently showing? It's 2 p.m., 7 p.m. my time. My bad. That's 2 p.m. for the interest rate decision from the Fed. But a whole load of other news coming out today. 7 a.m., 8:15, 8:30, crude oil as well at 10:30. So we'll keep an eye out for all of those. Having a little look at ENC, what happened with that in the end. Okay, yeah, so we're still working our way down through that. So that buyer's hold level failed, as I said. It's worked the backside of it right now, which is usual. Even though the level is kind of non-existent from a buyer level at this point, the backside of it can be used to short. So still moving down into this expected level at 172 this morning. So the nice place today, if I put these together, have been so far ENSC pre-market and I think MINM and GHSI, not ASMB, not ITRM. So the GHSI, keep an eye on that. So yeah, that's played nicely so far. So it was down here. So if you was early enough, we hit this middle level very, very close to benchmark 2. So you can short that as very aggressively. And if you do want to short these, by the way, we move it to that particular high and we take the first swing low. And you'll find me doing that when these small caps kind of run. If they do hit a benchmark in the live market and not in the pre-market, then you'll kind of see me wait for that, where everyone else might be short because they've seen a death candle or whatever, and then I'll be kind of waiting and hoping that we get back to that seller's hold level for the short to play to the downside. And then obviously if we get down here, we can play it back to the upside. So there was nice 3 trades on GHSI this morning. ENSC was done. They're still in play down to 170 hopefully. And MINM, similar thing. So this is one where we didn't come back to it, right? So we spiked to a level. It didn't utilize that level up there. Well, until it hit the buyer's hold level, right? So buyer's hold level, then it comes up and utilizes that first swing level, takes it out, and then puts in the lower ones right here. So actually I'm going to leave that one in because you could argue that top one wasn't touched. We'll bring that all the way across just in case on the market open we could take a run at those highs again, and that is still a valid level. So MINM, I'm going to bring that across. This is still valid, and this is still valid going into pre-market. And this big guy down here, he's got a big load of bids sitting in that pool down there as well. So that's how we play these. They haven't got a lot else on at the moment that's popping up. ONMD just made a shout. That was one from yesterday. What are we waiting for on ONMD? Analysis from yesterday. is double benchmark, smaller time frame and longer time frame. This is the longer time frame. The smaller time frame still didn't get to benchmark 2. So this is a bigger time frame, benchmark 1, benchmark 2, smaller time frame, benchmark 2. The day before yesterday we hit benchmark 1, and now the seller's hold level did. So these are all levels that we would be looking at on the 2 minute if I go back to it. Okay, so the day before yesterday, they're the levels that would kind of hold out. So we get a day full of boxes where we're trying to track these. Some fail, some don't. But ultimately, the bigger swings, you're looking for those that bounce in at 117 and back out. There's 40 cents there. And then we fail. We go to the one below that was sitting there because sometimes they stack. And then you double hold into that and out. You go again. Like we say, for the upside move to continue, you have to have one of these fail. The seller's hold level has to fail. And then for the rest of the day, we got caught between this buyer's hold and that buyer's hold, and everything else in between was really micro analysis there, just trying to prove out the swings that occur for people that are in trades going from this long 130 to this 150. Letting them know that actually you could see some resistance from this liquidity pool that's been sitting there, but they're all negated apart from this guy, which did work. Where are we now? Okay, so that guy's now taken out, right? Because he would have been valid until over here, and then he got smashed through on yesterday's price action. So yesterday's price action, I haven't moved this up yet. So if I move this across, I'm just looking to take the lows there at the open and the highs and see where we come into that liquidity pool. This is right there. So this guy is valid because we only took really the first, very close to the second level out. So I'm going to keep that on there. Because OMND can have more potential to the upside. Right, it's got these levels. Let's bring them across because they're all still valid. It doesn't mean they're going there. I must reiterate, they're not. It's not. It doesn't mean they're going there. What we would listen out for is the scanners on the money flow. If ONMD started taking money flow from other stocks today, then we would consider it at that point. But right now, it's sideways, didn't have a whole lot of pre-market money flow. And you can see that what's happening at the moment is the smaller liquidity pools on each swing are working out. So we've got a level up there. Have we touched it? No. Okay, so we have a level up here. So before you get to any benchmark, which is a longer term target, and this is key, if you're getting there, is you've got to break $2, okay? And then each one of these is kind of working out, right? So each one of this is holding. It's negated at that point. That's why you draw it again. If it comes back to it again, it's a new liquidity pool. That's why I'm saying we don't look left. That one works until it fails, and then you draw another one. It's not a case of looking left 2 weeks ago and bringing a line across. I don't do that. I take these levels as they come in, and if they fail, they're invalidated. The next swing then predicts what carries on here. So now obviously we foul this one to go to that one, then you would draw the whole swing down to this pool, and you'll find there's another one sitting up here, which you will have to break if you're going to go higher. And that's kind of the one we're sitting at the moment. Yeah. So to do this correctly, this is negated, even though we're kind of recognizing it still at the moment. The liquidity that was there isn't. It would have to be fresh liquidity. But what's happened on the sell side is, yeah, we've just negated this level now. So we have spiked above it. We've come back into it. We could come down to this level at this point, but that I don't have any other sell side liquidity on any swings. We only have our fresh buy side. So our buy side pulls, obviously this one's still valid. This one hasn't come into either, so that one is there, but you'd also take the most recent one and there'll be literally a micro pre-market one sitting there, which I can draw in, but I'm not holding a huge amount of value out on that. But actually, sometimes that is what happens before the open, is the pre-market micro swings just hold the bidders, hold the bidders, hold the bidders pull, and then it goes. So this level is valid, this level is currently valid, and this level right now is currently valid. So we'll see if OMND does anything today. Bring OMND down. What happened to CLDX? What about Nexi? What happened to Nexi? Still up there at $14. Did go a lot higher there. So you'll see from Nexi's highs, this was a nice play. It was from its highs come down. There was our liquidity pool sitting up there. We broke this one initially in order to get to this one. That was the one that brought it in, and that's why I'm kind of patient. I don't always play those. This isn't even near the open anyway. It run most of the a lot of the session, but that's why I'd always kind of play that level in there, and I'd look for that to come in and short it. Obviously this level was driven from this level, that's why it's a little bit off, but generally as long as you're looking for rejection in that area, you'll get your trade on. So this one now, we faded off for the rest of the day back down to kind of 12s, and now you can see we are pre-market entering this liquidity pool here. I'm gonna let go of that triangle. That's a seller's hold level right there. We are at 2 o'clock. Which is my 2 o'clock. It's your 8 o'clock, and we will have some news. Let's take a look. No, we've got an 8:15. So we've got an 8:15 coming up and an 8:30 employment benefit numbers. Okay, so yeah, that is a sell pool. Okay, so there's sell side liquidity there. And if I'm tracking what we've been doing since the close yesterday, I've gone from this low to this high. Okay, and this level has clearly worked. All right, so it's negated in terms of liquidity pool. It'll be a fresh liquidity pool to try today. That buyer's pool there is done. We will draw a fresh one in from this high to this low. And this is the one we've just taken at this point. So that's the lowest one we've got to. It did get negated at that point. So it's not really valid in terms of liquidity. It would be this one. That's the most recent one. And again, oh, we've just used the first, maybe the second level there. So this is the most recent one to go with. This one did work, but it's off back there. Got negated at that point. So you can see what we're doing here. Every swing has a pull, and nearly every pull gets worked for a potential trade. So this one's our short one. Okay, so that's how I see it at the moment. So for Nexi, what we're saying is we can have a short somewhere here between 15 and 16 if we come down into it, because this level is still valid. If we push up on the open, 1891 to 1990 is a level that we have to consider either for a short, or are we going up to $30, right? We would have to break these two levels in order to get up there. And that's the play this morning, is we just bring these across. We just be aware that those levels are there. But if they break 23.97, you could see a quick move to a double top or to $30.60 sitting up there somewhere. All right. And nothing shouting out at me at this point. What there is to note is the short side the short side cues, right? The ET are going up. They're on the scanners this morning. So they're short, which means they're opposite. So they're going up. So, you know, the index would go down. So this is essentially a NASDAQ short ETF, because you can't actually short, but you would buy a short ETF in order to play that. It would go up in value even though the actual QQQs are going down. So something to note, that the Qs are on there this morning, as is SOXS, which is the semiconductor bear stock. So I think we know the semiconductor plays and stocks, but that is what we have going on in SOXS. So yeah, same again, rallied up in the post market, rallied up in the pre-market, but it's now taking a bit of a rest. But if we look at that, if it was to bring that particular play in, I'm not saying that's probably not the best time frame to do it on. Here we go, this looks a bit better. We're going to look at somewhere on there. I would say this is a place to consider for a sell side liquidity, which means the market that we could drop if we get here. Okay, so which means if we drop when we get there, that means that the semiconductor stocks are going to be up, because this is a bear ETF. I'm sure a lot of you know that. But that's where we're at. Let's have a look at. We'll bring Nexi down. Look at the other KXIN stocks. See what's going on there. They're still holding this buyer's level down here. This one's been negated. This one's the one that's in play. We'll see where that goes. Let's have a look at the Mag 7. We have 20 minutes till the open. Let's have a look at Apple. It's getting a little bit. So had some nice plays over the past few days off these levels. We haven't reached our sellers levels, so it's been aggressive. Our buyers level came into it, basically went to the bottom of it and come to the top of it, but then failed. There was a couple of 2-minute plays, one here. This one didn't get touched in. So Apple very aggressive, but the key point to note is that the one from last Thursday, that was the play that went from this swing high to this swing low that you're waiting for at the highs, and that was the ultimate play on Apple back on Thursday to hold this this trend that has been holding to the downside here as we're stepping down, and still holding it as we speak. However, if I'm going to put a swing in here, we have a big buyers pull down here. That is because we had a massive swing on the upside. So we went from this pull all the way up to the sellers pull, and then reversed off the sellers pull. And this one is now driven similarly as this one worked from this low to this high. We have this liquidity pull in here, which should not be ignored. Okay, you should consider this. Wait for price action perhaps to push a little bit further into it, and then look for your confirmation coming out of that zone. There will be a bigger macro. So each swing I call the micros that I'll draw in whatever time frame I'm on, and then there will always be the biggest, the macro version, which will be bigger swings. So these were the macros. They've been ignored at this minute, so they are still there. But what they end up doing is stacking kind of thing into the bigger area, like the bigger zone. So at the end of the day, you don't really need to draw these all across, even though they are there individually. The big zone itself would actually, you could just consider that. The last swing down, though, I would consider here. So if I just drop down to a 30-minute, go into yesterday's move, you'd kind of call that a macro from yesterday, if you like. You've got all these swings in between, but the macro from yesterday is going to put you in a sell level here. Now, in order to drive deeper into this level, what has got to fail, and if I now drop down to a 10-minute to get a little bit of angle on that, right, what has got to fail, I'm ignoring the switch on, at 8 a.m. here. But here is your buyer's liquidity pool sitting there. Let go of that. All right, so there you are. So this is the buyer's hold level. If you're going to utilize more liquidity in this area below, okay, which is the bigger time frame, so it's the bigger area. If you're going to push right through here to use up all this liquidity in Apple, then you have to break this little one here, right? But we'll see what happens on the open. Sometimes you can have a big push down, then we stop, then we go back up for this level here at 190. Also one up there, 192, 194. So we'll just play them levels as they come. These levels were all yesterday. They broke down and we were just looking to see if we could join the shorts on them. These levels all gone. Okay, so that's all I'm thinking at the moment on Apple. Is this is the first initial buy. If we hold here and starts to come out of it, then I would expect to see a price movement up to 189. Although by then I will be down to the 2 minute. Right, I'll be down to the 2 minute and I'll be drawing this in. So acknowledging the pre-market high to the most recent low, this will be the minor swings that I'll be acknowledging on that. So you have to go intraday, right? You can do your macro area, but at some point you are trying to get in on some intraday plays, and these will be the levels that you have to continue to draw in as we did yesterday. Remember, there's still a trade on potentially if these levels fail, because if these levels fail, remember here the buy side liquidity is negated at this lowest point, right? It doesn't have to break all the way through. Even if it went back up from this lowest point, it's still negated. But it can just come back to it, and then you get yourself potentially another trade. Probably only enough there if you're on an options play, but nevertheless, the backside, these can work. As in they stop for reversals, but also if they just hold the price and you see some congestion there and then they fail, they can be big drops out of them. So yeah, just be aware of that. So that's Apple. Amazon, okay, Amazon got to a benchmark. The benchmarks can take a lot longer on, obviously, than small caps. Small caps can get to their benchmarks in a session, in a pre-market, or in a day or two. Can't move this down. However, the big cap stocks tend to take days and weeks to get to their benchmarks. But this one's gone from one benchmark through its two targets and can have enough movement to get there sometimes, but generally they like the benchmark ones, which we've come into here. And what have I got from the macro swing? That macro swing I'll take up here, and we have just tacked into that level there. So just to let you know how far this is in the future isn't anything. It's just so that you can see the price action before it, and then you can actually draw, and because this is an overlay calculation here, so it's nice for prickles if you like. It's the way the data is analyzed, but it equates to the same thing. So we've dropped from benchmark, we dropped into the buyer's liquidity pool. Level 2 and level 3 are still valid here, so we could push further down there. Next one I have for Amazon would be utilizing the high from the pre-market of yesterday to the lows of the overnight session, and then I would be calling that level there as sellers, right? I'm seeing sellers at that level. And remember, these might not be visible on your level 2. They might not be visible on any other software that does your level 2 for you. It is what I call hidden liquidity. You don't always see this on the tape. You can see price come into it. You can see it speed up on the tape, but you just don't see a big seller sitting up there at 160 necessarily all the time on level 2. So yeah, that's why you might see these levels work and turn when actually you don't get anything to back it up on the level 2, but that's the whole reason I use them. So that's what we've got on Amazon. I won't take that so many days out. We'll bring that in, see if we can't play both of those levels today. Currently a long to this area and a short from 159. If we 159, 160 if we get up there. Google. Alphabet. Just missed the benchmark yesterday, but nice trade from this liquidity pool all the way up from 141. There was 155 written on that and a double top out. Kind of suggested you might not make that. So right now we are in a seller's pool that Google has negated. We would have to draw smaller ones right now to find those sellers on the 2 minute. So it would be like from here to here we'd be drawing. But the 1 hour is valid from the highs. Take it from the high there to the low. And I'd see offers coming in around this level here, 152, 153. So that is what I see here. Do we have? Yeah, so this level is still good. This level's still good today because we only tapped into the top side of it. So yeah, if I'm looking for something from today's pre-market, from the yesterday, oh no, we've held that as well. We've held that as well. It would be the first swing. The only thing I can use there is the first swing. The liquidity switch on. Acknowledge that at 8 o'clock. That's the only area I've got for buy liquidity because we just tacked into it. So it's slim. But that doesn't mean it's not strong. Right? It doesn't mean it's not strong because sometimes you can just whack through these levels and go straight to the top one. So it just takes in those 3 liquidity providers. That every stock needs 3 liquidity providers when they get onto the exchange at the Nasdaq, and that's what this is. That's what they're utilizing. So each of those 3 liquidity providers between themselves are against themselves, just like all us retail traders are playing each other. They are also playing each other. So they will come in at different levels there, and ultimately someone will get the best price. So if one of those liquidity providers come in there in the at the close yesterday, and then another liquidity provider come in here, say, well, the liquidity provider that actually got the best price overnight was the one that got in down here. So, you know, that's all. That's the game, and that is what we look for. So today we either break 143, go down to 140, or we hold 143 and we go up to 151. We just look for the rejection, the confirmation there. You know, whether that be pin bars or trend line breaks, whatever it is you want to do there, that's the kind of thing we're looking for. Meta didn't like this yesterday, I don't think. Oh, it's a post market. Yeah, so that's why everything's kind of, all the short share ETFs are going up, because the post market was so negative for the Mag 7. So post market dropped out of that liquidity pool. So that one itself is negated. That was from the last swing up from here to there. What do I have here? So I would take this one. Oh, mind you, I'm drawing in a 2 minute. I shouldn't start with that. Let's just go to the hour. So we've got on the hour. The hour play, this level still valid. And drop down to 30. Yeah, okay. The higher time frames I'd have on this, you get less chopped up if you just stick with these ones, right? You can wait all session, and then if they actually fail it, then obviously you've got to be quick enough to swap direction on these levels. So We've got a level down there at 387 that we could well pop into because we'd have just broken this one. If we get a double bottom, you've obviously broken the sell side pull that's sitting down there. We've got a triple bottom here on Meta. Hasn't quite touched into this. That is because we could just be off of that level 1, or it's not gone for it yet. So we could dip in here down to 386 before we come round and have a look at 400. Again, we'll continue to draw, right? Because here is the last swing, high to low, and you can see that the sellers have held that level in pre-market. Okay, so the sellers have held that level in pre-market. It's yeah, you could argue there's another set of liquidity at the top of that. So pre-market, look out for a little dip down, take these lows out perhaps down to 387 and then along to 391. If we bust this level, we are looking at 400 on Meta. Five minutes. Look at the news.
Buy all.
Also, nothing, unemployment coming in better than expected there. Mortgage, NBA mortgage backs, they're still doing them things. 218 coming in at 202 actual, and 438 coming in at 445. So nothing earth shattering there. Take these off again. That was a try and catch the move out on the open there, which it did. These two targets were hit, and then we got into our liquidity pool and then failed. Okay, so Microsoft, all we're looking at now is really that level still there. I would bring in that right there. The Microsoft big area sitting up here, 410 to 413. To the upside, or buy liquidity, that one looks negated down there now because it went to the bottom of it. This one here has been tapped into but is still valid. That's on the buy side. And then we'll be tracking this one up. Okay, so just because it didn't get all the way to the low, it just means it's still valid and there can be some liquidity sitting down at 398. But we're going to track this one too. The most recent one is coming in here. Remember, these can just stair step. That's what generates your trend lines, is the fact that we stair step down to these levels. So we anticipate, you know, where you'll be drawing your trend lines later. And we do it even on the 2 minutes. So this high coming down to that low, you can see currently pre-market trapped between this seller's hold level and that seller's hold level. Now, that's where we can get a bit choppy, okay? So for Microsoft, a couple of things can happen here. It can either blast through this block or it can blast through these two blocks. That one's negated, and there's a little level down here that I believe is still available. But yeah, so that's it. If Microsoft is going to go for a trend day, it's got to break through this to the upside to go long, this to the downside, all of this to the downside to go long. Sorry, this is red. Okay, but it could be likely that we open and go 402, 404, 402, 402, 412. Or 399, you know, that sort of thing. So it works out to be a side day for Microsoft, but you never know which. You just have to kind of get down to that lower time frame and see what's holding on those smaller pools to see what makes sense. But at the minute, this is all quite tight. I probably wouldn't bother dropping lower. All I would be checking right here is this liquidity pool here that we're sitting in at the moment. You can see that sellers just held it, right? Sellers just held that liquidity pool on the 2 minute. And the buy, that is this one. That's that low to that high that we've drawn in. But you can see most recent ones are coming in and holding each of these, right? So a tiny little one there. I won't bother drawing in the sell side because it's using the wider range anyway. So that still counts. So that's kind of pretty. Let's drop down to NVDA. There's the market open there at the moment. You'll see some stuff come down on the scanners now.
GHSI.
So GHSI is being called straight out. GHSI. So we drew that out earlier. So we had this buy liquidity pool coming in that's still working. It's either going to attempt to get out of there to go to 1087. And we'll see what we've got, because we do have these two levels up here to play with as targets. You could also foul this at the moment, and then you'll see the reaction that that has if this liquidity pool fails. So that's GHSI. Remember, double top. This is all textbook action for this to fade. Oh, we've just broke through the bottom. So there's your context here. Let's see how powerful that can be, breaking through the bottom of this to the downside now. MINM just opening at that liquidity pool. That buy liquidity pool is negated at this point in time, so you will see either a drop to 280, or if you can still hold it even though it's kind of finished, if you push on up out of it, you can see 340. Just looking for that price reaction at this point. ENSC didn't quite make it to its liquidity pool there, and fading off just about to hit that 170 target that we mentioned, coming off of the failure here. So just tapping in there, we'll see if you get any rejection off ENSC. ONMD not being called out at this point in time, just tapped in on the open to that buyer's level and tapped out of it. Could go to take a look at 187 on ONMD. Nexi. Yep, Nexi negated this level right here and has tapped into this first level there. Pre-market highs on Nexi. Let's see if we don't get a play down to 1885 now, down to 1640, somewhere there. And Nexi's got a job to do to get through this level, but it done a hell of a job yesterday, so it's not to say that it can't do it. GHSI is being called out as money flow, so there you go. So GHSI coming out now of that buyer's hold level. So buyers have held that level even though they've taken it all out there, so there's literally no more left there. We would now be drawing liquidity from this low to wherever this ends up as a high, and we could be going up to 11 here, 1080 for this push. Oh, bear in mind, this is where we start drawing the 2-minute ones come in, right? There's the 2-minute first swing down. Watch out for that level there. Unfortunately, this is why you need to take some profits if you're scaling into these, because there we go, pop that in there, because they just appear, right? It's there off of this swing low. If you took it all the way down to it, you're already in it, but I like the first one. I don't much like crossing over price. I feel like it's the more recent levels that should be used, but this level's still good. So we got a halt on GHSI. MINM. Yep. MINM is also coming out of its liquidity pool level there. So again, it's broke its most recent one there, or at least completed its most recent one. I think we're crossing over anything there. So there's a level there that's complete. Right, so that's failing at this point in time. So 340 would be nice. So currently there's a level here, right? Just looking at what everybody else is looking at, there's a level here. So good morning, Wilson. How you doing? You mobile today, or you back at the desk? So expecting a push up to 340 here from the liquidity pool that we drew in much earlier. And this was always the long play here for 307 to 343. GHSI. Halt, obviously. ENSC. So ENSC coming into that buyer's hold level, that would have been kind of our target here from these highs. We didn't get that one because it had worked its benchmark 2s, and sometimes that's just what happens. Unfortunately, you don't get it. Okay, mate. No problems. No problems. Yeah, pushing into there at 70 right now. So we'll see what we've got on ENSC. Where is that on the two? So MINM taking order flow. I'm going to switch that scanner up there so you can see the order flow.
AHT.
You should be able to see that now. AHT being called out. Let's take a look. Yeah, Min's on the up. Min is on the up. We called that one from earlier analysis. Have a look here. Go down to the 5 minute here. Yeah, Min has been just playing these levels all pre-market. So the buyer held. Now we're just tapping this one here. So these were the levels. Just work these levels all morning. We're just looking to see if we can crack them though on the open, because we do have a 458 and we do have a 7 potentially sitting up there. AHT is being called out. I haven't seen this morning. I've obviously missed something. Oh, it was on the scanner. It's a little bit low down here. Yeah, it wasn't one of the highest ones, but we was on our biggest gainers down there. AHT. No real. Oh, so very little insider ownership. 10% held by institutions. But MINM is taking the money, as is AHT at the moment. AHT. Let's have a look here what we've got. So look at the 30 minute. Difficult daily. MINM still on at 343. Wow. Okay, so there's a massive daily level, right? There's a massive daily level on this. What's the news? Tax report information for 2023. No, there's nothing really heavy coming out of there. But look, right. So literally, that level there is at the top of the manipulation zone, right? So that's a key level that can hold right there, right now on AHT. These would be yellows, right? Right, so I'm going to come back to MINM, come back to AHT in a minute, because for me, that is potentially, you know, you've got to break out of this level, and that is on the daily. So for me, if I look at the 2 minutes, if I was to look at benchmarks on the 2 minutes to see where that might be going, I'll be taking these lows and this higher and see if we're benchmarking on 2 minutes. Yeah, so you can see the benchmark 2 up there. We work benchmark 1, benchmark 2 sitting just up there at the moment. But like I said, we've got this bogey level that sits smack in the middle between these two that just keeps getting in the way of benchmark 2 at the moment. Not a lot we can do about that. That is what it is. So we just have to take the play. So AHT we could put on the watch list to see if we pull back, and I'll draw this in now in case in a couple of days time when it comes back up on the watch list, we'll take that high there. AHT could be a really nice play from 140, 150 if this liquidity pool can hold. If we can get down to it, then if this liquidity pool can hold, that's the best risk to reward on that trade, because you could get in. If we start to curl out of that, you can just put your stop down there at 140, come out at 150. Then if you break out at 172, you're going higher. But let's move to MINM for the moment. Wilson, what you got on MINM? You've just shorted and covered. What do you do not? You get in. You're on the edge of. Whoa. Where's my chat gone? I think I've just maximised my screen now. I want my chat back on.
Rev.
1 sec. Right, still sitting on that. Let's drop down to the 1 minute what we've got coming on here. So the money flow is there. It's in that liquidity pool. So right now this is negated as we dropped into that top side, pushing it out. And now I'm simply drawing this swing here, right? So we've got our sell side. Now this has to hold. Oh, Rev B's taking money flow. 1 sec. That's right. So there you go. 310. We've tapped it once. let's see if MINM, remember the levels we have above there's 378 if we're looking for benchmarks, and 450 at benchmark 1 for MINM if we can push through it. We may take a pullback before it does. I'm looking at Rev B. So Rev B is pushing out of its liquidity pool that we drew in pre-market. The first thing you've got is the pre-market sell side. Where's my check button in TradeCaster? Oh, there you are. There you are. Just drop that there. Okay, so for MINM, yep, so just hit it. Just hit it there. Sorry, not MINM, Rev B, Rev B. Don't confuse everybody. Okay, so just touched level 1. This is now negated on the third touch. So see how you've worked every single level in there, 1, 2 and 3. That's now done. Okay, whatever works now is because of a new swing. Let's go to zoom in here. Is because of this swing, right? It's coming this low on that pre-market to that high. Okay, so if we're coming off of Rev B right now, we need to see if this level can hold. That is your new pull. It's not the previous one anymore. It's nothing further from the left anymore. It's that one right there. Now let's just zoom out on REVB and see what we've got here. Okay, so as we went into that level there, that level was driven by this swing here. So that's what that buy liquidity pool was. This one here needs to be drawn in from the top to the very bottom. Oh, it comes in at the same place as it was before. So that previous one that held this is not the true level anymore, but it's almost in exactly the right place. But if I was to be pedantic, that would be finished. Benchmark 1 has been acknowledged, but benchmark 2 has not. Okay, so 29.99 would be a target, but it's got a lot of work to do here today. So never say never, but the new liquidity pool for the sell side, that is benchmark. It's a fixed, kind of a fixed price area, unlike liquidity, which gets taken out. Obviously, orders get filled and moved on. So that's what you've got at the moment. Back down to the 2 minute. Yeah, 2 minute, you're coming into the buy side liquidity, very, very close to that. That been halted? I'm guessing that is a halt. I need to get my halt resume on here. Yeah, Rev B, GHS, so they were all halted earlier, weren't they? Okay, so Rev B, halt just coming into that level. MINM. So pushing through that liquidity pool, that's actually negated now in terms of liquidity. If you're going somewhere, you're going to the next one. Like I say, this, if I'm looking at this and I'm zooming out of that, my benchmarks are here, right? This is the play. We've broken out of the manipulation zone. We will want to get to 460. We will want to get there. Doesn't have to be today, but we will want to get to 452 at least on this. Oh, the bogey level sits in the middle here. No, it doesn't. The bogey level sits in between there. There's the bogey level. Smack in the middle there. Okay, so that is what I have for MINM. I need to get my halt resume up. Bear with me. Window. I want my halt resume. There we go. drop that up there. See if you can see that one.
ONMD.
That'll be the most recent.
Min.
Most recent. So MINM money flow still pushing. Remember, you've got a whole batch of liquidity sitting up here that it's just going to work its way through and then get itself up to 440. If not, it is coming back down for a breather at 320. That's M1AM. Let's just have a look at these bigger plays. So Apple pushing down, like we said, it'll probably crack this one, going deeper into the pull there.
Min.
ENSC is coming down still. Didn't ever take another look at M1AM. On that. Okay, so M1AM is coming off now down to that liquidity pool. Let's just drop back to that. Can't help but drop back to these.
ONMD.
Oh, there's IMD we said earlier. Could have the potential to take some money flow this morning. Let's see if that is short alongside though. Bear with. Okay, so that is holding, right? So like I said, sometimes it doesn't mean that it can't come back round. It just has used all the liquidity at that level. But that final liquidity absorbed those buy orders and sold off. So that's what's happened there. So that isn't a level anymore. But that third level of liquidity sitting up here is working to the downside, right? But that doesn't matter. You've effectively got two levels, one from here now. Because we did touch into that pool. There would be a fresher level. And that fresher level is right here. So that fresher level is there. They're both valid at this point in time. Okay, so let's see what we get. Not touching 333 would be aggressive if we start going red-green. If we come down to 315, it's not necessarily weak, but it just means it might take longer to play out. Like, you know, you could go in past lunch kind of thing. But yeah, we'll see how that plays. But at the moment, it couldn't break those pre-market highs. You're drawing a trend line, so you got one there. So so today this may not happen. All you can do is watch to see if the buyers remain in control. So currently 1, 2, 3 buyers in control, 1, 2, 3 sellers in control. We could sideways. That's kind of how I determine MINM at the moment, is that yes, it's on everyone's scanners. The volume has come in. It hasn't got to my best level for reversal, like either of them. To me, it's just working through each of those levels, and I still have a long bias. All the while, we can hold any of these levels because this is valid. It's only these ones that I've not pulled across that are invalidated. A MIM coming in, CLDX as well. Let me just check where it called out on ONMD. I just don't want to ignore a stock when it's called out on the money flow. So MINM, we said there was a chance of popping into this liquidity pool here, which it did to the open, rejected off. The trade would have been there from 160 up to the seller's liquidity pool, and we're trying to push through it. The benchmark is up there. There's plenty of benchmarks up here. This has got 220, 260, 290 and 380. Doesn't mean it has to go there, but all we want to track now is that the most recent liquidity pool can hold. That's all we would do. So we're either aggressive or we come back to pick liquidity up and those institutional players can get back in at a better price, hold some more. But ONMD seems like a good one to keep on the watch list with MINM. GHSI, what happened with that in the end? we rolled off. So there's GHSI. Sellers held that liquidity pool,
ONMD.
punched up again off the open into this one. There's the short from 10.25ish or 10.50ish, and straight back off. Now we have busted that liquidity pool. Like I said, it's pretty much over. We have a target from the bigger swing now up to the highs. This one would be the active level. You've just literally touched it. So that's the active pool. So if you were selling GHSI, like I said, it's just been a perfect one for these levels this morning, pre-market and as the market has opened. Yeah, we played off that. It wasn't the benchmark quite, but it was the bogey level in the middle. We retested that level and the sellers hold. Buyers held again, sellers hold again, buyers held again, sellers sold off down to the target of 8. Now, what it does next, you would just have to continue taking those swings to find out if the sellers are holding to the buyers. The buyers have held this level. We know they've held that level, but this is a better value, right? That's it doesn't mean it can't work its way up again and touch those highs. MINM moving on up to 353 right now. We're just going to draw this one in before we go. That level that worked is negated because we went through all 3 levels. So that's off to the side there. That isn't the level anymore. This is the new level. CDLX still taking some as well. So there we are. We've got this buy. We expect to get to 966, 968 for that. We see what happens at that level. Where is VWAP sitting there? Yep, just below it. VWAP's just below it. If there's going to be anyone liking the VWAP play as well, kind of lines up. MINM still at 353, 350 right now. So again, still working this level, but like I said, the reason is not the previous pull, it's the new one. The new one sits that high there to that low there. That's the pull it's sitting in right now. That's why you got that rejection. You have to break this pull now to get to this other one that's valid. This one's gone. So this is the one you've got to push through. There you go. That one's now negated. That one's gone. Didn't even bother drawing it in, but it was there. So there's your 360. There's your 364 level. You're testing these highs. I've still got 460 written on this if we can get it. Has to break this level. So even this buy, look, even when you're on the minute chart, if we could get down to a chick chart even better, there's that level there. They just continue to hold. 366 there. We will continue to draw the next level in to see if it spikes down to it. We'll just follow it up and draw this. Keep checking. So you've broken 377. That level is now negated. That is finished. I would be looking for that area right up there at 450, 460. Doesn't mean it's straight away. We're just covering standard procedure. You're going to get shorts coming in. We've just faked out of the high. There will be shorts coming in. The question is, does the money flow continue as to whether the trade plays out? The only way we have got of knowing that is by continuing to pull up these liquidity pools and see if the buyers hold them. So right now, that's where we are. We can spike down into it or not. We've just missed it by a couple of cents. There you go. It's taking the money flow. Those initial shorts that come in there for 370, 350. Wilson, what did you do? That to me seems like your play. Yeah, to me that was a short. You saw that this bar went red, like 3/4 of the way down of that previous bar. That short's getting squeezed right here, or covering right here. Do they get another go? That's that pre-market high. Let's put that in. Oh, that's that pre-market high. I'm going to change that to a different colour. That's the pre-market high right there. We're above it. So you're short, so for that reason, you're shorting the pre-market high, right? That's what I'd expect the shorts to do. So, and this is where it can play out. It might not play out. My target would be up there at 450 because I think this stock would gun for the benchmark right now. However, it doesn't mean it can't pull back. So the trades on for long and short, all I'm doing is moving this buy level up as price moves up. So we can spike down to this and sellers can get paid. But now it's down to the 360 level. Now we're going for that level. I'm going to get MINM up on the chart here and start looking at what the risk would be if I get to 450. Oh, bogey level. It's the bogey level. Oh, no, it's not the bogey level. My bogey level is up above. No, okay, so I'm still 450 on this. Still 450. So looking deep in that box there. So if I'm looking at something less hasty and I'm looking at this playing out, this trade playing out. So if you look at it in hindsight, you know, if it hit benchmark already, is that the thesis is just don't get involved in the manipulation zone unless you come to a deep liquidity pool in it, and then that's your best risk trade. Wait for that breakout and the play at the top side. And then when you start doing this, you need to work those buy liquidity pools all the way up to that benchmark. So let's see if we can play. The risk reduces. Like I said, this is nearly a 90% chance of hitting this first level when you break out of here. This is an 80%. This drops down to about 70%, but small caps just absolutely love this level. AHT didn't make its liquidity pool quite. It is just taking the buys. This has got a high. Remember, this was called out on money flow pre-market as well, and at the open. So that looked good. So AHT. Oh, this is the one that's knocking out bench. I've got to draw this in. I haven't drawn this in yet. Right, I'm going to draw this in because it is trying to pushing out the manipulation zone. Right, MINM, sorry. So currently got to 430. I was looking for 450. It got to 430. Shorts will still be working into this. On a 1 minute, you can see that. Not quite a death candle, but how far would this liquidity pool be driving up right now? Yeah, so we're going up a little bit higher now to 368 on that pool, 367.
TSVT.
MINM still looking for. Oh damn! Don't like to change the levels. So can this push take that high out? The volume's there. The volume is there. This is not a really weak volume push, but remember, anywhere near these highs, the only way we have confirmation of what is going on is by drawing in the liquidity pool, and here it is right here. If we can push through there, we've got to jump to 450. Okay, here we are trying that liquidity pool there. This is either good for shorts, but like I say, I can't. I'm not one for short until I've got to that benchmark 1 at least. Look at AHT. Okay, so that pool seems to kind of be taking effect. Let's just draw it in here. See how many. I want to see how many levels it plays. Right, so that would be sellers. That's making any shorts any more comfortable. That would be sellers sitting in there. Like if we're down on tick charts, because remember this plays through. This is like the algorithm that plays through everything. This would be on tick charts. The tiniest micro liquidity pool on a tick chart would be there. Literally, we just tapped into it, right? So that's why you get this feeling if you're in that short and you're not breaking the most recent tiniest micro pool that's sitting there, because it's every one of those pools it's better to get in at 4 than it is to add at 419. So there's always, you know, this always happens, this lower push down, and then if that works, you get a red. There you go. You get a red to green. So right, so that's the final level of that liquidity pool work, right? So now it's either they absorb it and they push it through, or it can drop off it. But that is that pool done. We'd have, in terms of the micro that we're looking at, right? There's nothing else to draw on the sell side right now. That either works and drops, or it fails. Just keep micro stair stepping this. We've got another one down here at 407, 406. Right, so there you go. So that's, so you feel like that's going to push and break, but like when I say it's negated, just means it's absorbed. It doesn't make it absorb, drop, absorb, push through. You're filling them orders. The sellers can take control at that point, or the buyers can totally push through. Buyers, I'd expect to see here some micro buyers at 405, 407. Another push into this pool. Remember, that pool's not there anymore. So this is down to retail now. Retail shorts and retail longs here. AHT pushing any higher? No. Not at the minute. Always seem to be out of that zone. That could be a good play over the coming days, AHT. Okay, so trade ideas just shut itself down again. Oh my life. I've got to speak to their support and just go back to the previous version on that. It's such a pain. Do you know what? I didn't save that template either. Is it going to bring me back? Oh, okay. That's my fault. I didn't save the whole layout, but never mind. So here we go. Testing that 406, 4. I've actually gone right to the bottom of it, 402. Can this push down to 367, or is this level going to hold? Let me just check out. Was that the most recent? Yeah, that's still down there. So I believe. So there's this one here as well, because we only tapped into that first level. So this is still valid here at 394. We've just taken out the previous one that I drew in, which was up here. GHSI taking some of the money as well. So here, kind of a double whammy on the buy liquidity. That one's been taken out. This one's still valid. You got one down there at 394 still. Nothing above. Oh, I lie. There is one now. There is one now. So new liquidity. So we've just taken that other buy pull out. So there's every chance you can see 367 on this right now. And because the sell side resides, well, it did just touched it. It was there. So it was new sell side sitting in that level, which is pushing it off. So I now see a gap down to kind of 370, or the backside of this pull that is negated. Like I said, the liquidity is not there from the sell side. The buy side resides here, but sometimes they coincide. So it looks like a backside. You know, we dip in and then out we go. So let's see. I'm still 450 on that. We didn't make 450, so I think we're coming in for a potential little drop here. How deep? You don't know. If it doesn't need the liquidity, it'll just carry on its merry way. If it does need the liquidity, it will come down to 360 and then attempt another push. MINMs Oh, what am I talking about? Look at AHT, MIM. Let's see if that gets called out. So look, it wasn't that far. It wasn't far off that 155. I said on that. It's 158. So that is kind of working through a textbook trade upcoming over, not necessarily today, but upcoming over the next few days, because that had, look on the hourly. Oh, I didn't draw it in. That's what I needed to do. Okay. Yeah, so let's just draw that in quickly now. Keep an eye on MINM, which I think may just pull down a little bit. Yes, I see from that first swing, this is textbook. If that can hold right now, and you can break above the manipulation zone where we are, I've got. Right, so I've just marked that. I know we're going to be. That's going to be tight up there. In any case, draw this one in. So there you go. So this could be a decent play over the next coming days. Okay. So that's kind of what I would look for. So I draw this other one up here. And the bogey level, which appears to just throw that one in there, right? It's just, what can you do? Yeah, so just keep an eye on it. I'll keep an eye on that money flow coming in. If we start here in AHHT, and we'll use those levels. This was meant to be green because it was the original buy pool. Okay. So we use this one deep down in the level, right? That's like I said, you can get your best play within that manipulation zone. So every time you can play that manipulation zone is if you get that level, because you're getting in at 133 and your stop's down at 129. Then we get our push, money flowing to M&M again. Now the question is, I'll just keep drawing these in. That is still valid down there. No, I'm waiting for. I am waiting for MINM to short, which is always my problem, because if it goes for a run for level 2, then I have a problem. But I don't see a short here yet. I can see how the retail shorts are coming in, but I don't see, unless I see that benchmark, I can't short it. So looking for these on AHC. See, we've just touched into this one here. So these are all valid right now. So that's where I am with AHT. Only a 3 ticker symbol there. Be looking for 260 on this if you continue to play out and hold these levels. I like that. What's ONMD doing? ONMD went to its yesterday's high. Broke its pre-markets, went into that liquidity pool. Currently there, we've got this benchmark sitting up there, which it never actually touched yesterday or the day before. So what does it want to do? There's a push up there. It could go deep into any of these levels right there if it can make it off on ONMD. Retail are taking this trade here. Retail are taking the long at 185. Let's see if they can get paid. Micro level of short to push through would be that level there. We can come off there for a little bit. Oh, I can't believe them scanners dropped. Right, let me put this one back up there for you. EVTV is the most recent one. So this guy here is the level of play on ONMD. Okay, so we can come down here for 173 for a push up, but we've definitely got retail in long at 180s. Let's see if they can get paid or they get effectively stops, because their stops will be down here if we come to this liquidity support at 172. MINM pushing on up at the moment. I think this is the one that we could get our 450. Can we get our 450 this time? And INM, here we go. There's the push.
TSVT.
I expect that to keep coming in now, keep pushing us. 447, the high at the moment on that. 450 was the call, but that's a deep liquidity pool there. I'm not calling higher day necessarily, but you have a benchmark 2 sitting up there at $7. 615 would be the bogey level for us getting to 7, but right now we have volume and money flow into MINM, into the first level there at benchmark 450. There you go, 455, 455 it. Now we leave it down to the price action to see. So see, we took out those two. They look, they do look micro now because they was. The only thing you can do now is pull up these levels. All of these buy levels are still valid. We're just pushing on up without them. That's the new one there. There's the money to HT, is it? Yep, there's the money to AHT. So see how that now becomes a trade for the long side. Looking at this first pullback, this looks good for a play, if not for just today, but also for the coming days. So if I'm looking for a play now, I'm just tracking these highs. Anyone that's watched the stream before will know that I will look to play those highs down to the first. I'll kind of wait until we get down to that first. So I would, if this was the high right now, I would expect to pull back down to $4.10, $4, somewhere like that. Then I would draw in a short liquidity pool. And that is key at that point, is if that could hold, and I'm drawing this ahead of time, right? This price action, I'm not drawing off price action because it hasn't printed yet. But that high is all we have at the moment. Down to this buy liquidity pool, then I'd want it to hold and come back to it. Now, you don't always get that. If that is going to be the high of day, it can just smash through this one and then you're fading. You basically take the big swing and you'd come back down to about 350. But at the minute, there's no price action there saying anything to the short side. We're just working this benchmark at the moment, and the money flow is still coming into it, albeit not as I'm going to say not as strong on that last 1 minute, but I think it's picking up right now. So yeah, it's taken 21.8 million. There you go, 480s working that to the dead center of the benchmark now. No indication of shorts at that point at 450. So just working the level. If we can crash out of this, you are going to 7 at some point. I'm going to say 615 because it's just a pain in the butt, that one at the moment. But this is what I'm looking at now. So I like this benchmark. If we're not going to make level 2 today up here, benchmark 2, we're not going to make that. This is a sort of area that the shorts come in. And all I want to know is, are the buyers going to hold? Great ideas. Jeez. Just when you need to know if the money flow is still coming in and they jump off. I've got to uninstall that bad boy. Right, let's put this money flow back in, see if we've got any noise coming out of it. Start the speakers up on the alerts. Yes, it is the answer. Right, there's the high from... So that's benchmark 1 now. This is it. This is a level up here, right? This particular level, 524, is a level. This is a level. So this can hold for a pullback if or it goes to try 615.7. Right, so there is some rejection at that level. This now moves up to here and becomes a little bit wider because the push was bigger. This was me trying to explain what I would do. All right, so now look, this is micro. If I had a tick chart, you have to take those sellers in there. Right, sellers there at 516. The sellers at 516. This is the top side of benchmark 1. Doesn't mean you can't smash through to benchmark 2 right now, but there are sellers at that level that come in after the spike at 520. That is really micro, but that's what's happening at the moment. So question is, money flow, listening for money flow. AHT is also coming in again. That's negated. There you go. It's going off. It's gonna try and take a look at that 615 level. Surely, unless this is a spike above benchmark 1. Let's have a zoom out. 10-minute. There you go. Yeah, we've got some higher volume coming in here. As if that's not apparent to anyone already. So another nice push there on MINM. So there was our pre-market. There was where our shorts, retail shorts, would have come in. And wouldn't have got paid anything much there. There's a few cents up there. 10 cents max, isn't it? 20. Yeah, you even if you're waiting for rejection, you've been in about 390. Right, so this is the backside of the benchmark. That is a level in itself. We have 451 down here. Aggressive targets may start to come in if this bar closes red. We've gone a little higher. Where is that? No, we're still there. A bit lower. Okay. We're going to get shorts coming in on that red candle. Gone quiet, and that is not because my scanners have switched off. It is because there's no money flow in MINM at this point in time. Okay, if that is the high, just tracking these lows. I'm just going to pop that in just to see. Fact that we're above it, this is backside of it, so I need to be careful if that money flow doesn't come in. All right, there it is. Let's just check into that short liquidity. Is it there this time? Your buy side micro is going to be right there. That's the one that's got to fail to get you down to 450, 440. That's the one that's got to hold to get you to 6.
TSVT.
Okay. All three levels touched there. All 3 levels taken very quickly. Now, does it absorb
INGN.
or drop?
ITRM.
So 540, 534, the pullback short on that one,
EVTV.
to which I would have preferred, but there's still a swing to be had, right? This, I'm really going micro here. There's a swing to do this. This would be my preferred one. It's going to take a bit longer. That is what I would prefer to see on this play. But we'll see. But definitely money flow has stopped as of now.
TSVT.
$5. Okay, so can it crack that level? That's the level that we're looking for. If we can crack that, you should see some sharp resolution down to the bottom here. Let's see what we got. That's it. It's a final push. We're going to negate that. Yep, that's either absorb to reverse or the push through. So 530, so there's 30 cents there between these 2 levels. The bigger move's going to pay more. Another 40 cents down here. Prior to the most recent low, this becomes, you know, I'm just going to use this because it's so close. But that's the new level. And this one, not pushing out because the money flow hasn't come in on this level right now. Right now, it has not come in. The last money flow in was at 17 minutes past the hour. Oh, he says, as it comes in at 23 minutes past the hour right now. One call. So question is, are we finding some accumulation at these highs? I think there'll be shorts coming in at this level.
TSVT.
Didn't look at it. At this point, didn't look at it.
TSVT.
Volume's off. There you go, short side. That's crash. It's taken that level out. I would like to see that 450 now. And then I'd like to see 527. Actually, it'll be a bit lower than that because we're going to bring it down as it comes down right now. So just tracking what I drew at the moment. Let's see if it comes to fruition or whether it just tanks. If that is high of day, that level's just going to be dragged down. So there was a level left up there that it tacked in for that 534 short. Negated. This is the new level. Again, this could just be the backside. It's finished on the buy side. Could just be the backside before they come down, but did we draw in? I think we took that in from the low. Yeah. To the high. Yeah, it's still sitting there, that level. So let's see if we get the play with the knowledge that this is a pullback into benchmark, right? That's what we've got to consider. It's a pullback into the benchmark, not a clear close above. So pull back into the benchmark, the nut 615 to worry about, and 7 the target ultimately.
Asset.
But target 1 is definitely massive. Benchmark 1 has been hit. We can work benchmark 1 all the way down to 350 because the open is there, the high is there, and 350 is going to be in the middle of that box, right? Which is basically all these that didn't work before and now become a solid area of liquidity at this level. So that would be my first kind of target other than this one. So that would make it my second target, right? So if this plays out to the downside now, if it comes up here, depending on whether that gets negated or just pushed right into or not, but down here, up there, and then down to this 350 level, I would move that up a tad. That's what I would have on MINM. Let's have a look at AHT. Whoa, that was a nice push from 168 to 192. Let's see if we're holding these 1 minute. Oh, that was it. Sorry.
Please.
Yeah, nice. So this is the same play. This is exactly the same play as MINM. It's just as it got a longer time frame on it, right? This has gone for it, MINM, which is seeing the money flow come back. Still there. 520, 528. Does it need it? Does it need it? Here comes that push, and here's that push. Gonna be stopped. I've tried that. I've tried that. Tried that. I don't like it, but I've tried it. This has got some momentum on it. These stocks have been pushing this January. This could have 615 and 7 written on it, but I can't not try that play. I want to see this red. It was green. I'd rather it be red. You're gonna get.
Please.
Okay, I will be out at that top of that zone if we fell through it, and if that money flow starts to come in. I need to see a red candle come straight out of this, otherwise the grinding is not good at this area. So at the moment it's just kind of following, apart from the fact I didn't get down to my box. What it is come back, it's retesting that level. That is kind of textbook if this is going to be the day's high, right? It's only textbook if it's the day's high. So money flow coming in right now, which is not good.
Min.
50. It's going to be shorts working. I don't like that candle at all. I'll be in my position. I'll add it back in if we get a nice red candle out of this. There it is, back in. All right, now, assuming that holds, I've got to consider the money flow coming in still, right? If I see money flow hit the tape at 5, I could be in for a tough short. If I can smack this level and create a death candle down at 447, then we have a nice short trade on. Right now, that is what I see. That is what I kind of do day in, day out. But I prefer doing this at benchmark 2 at 7. But nevertheless, anticipating a break now. Anticipating a break. We need through 4. What have we got at the bottom here? 487, 488. Do not want to see a retest of that level. There we go. Come on, baby. Right. I don't want. I want 440 now. Come on, 440.
INGN.
There you go. Come on. Come on. That's what I want to see. That is what I want to see. Now, can we get past... I want to get past this. So the money flow's gone into INGN. That's good. That's good for shorts on MINM. Let's just see if we can't get this, but we don't want to be too greedy on this. 445. Let's take that swing. If we was doing benchmarks to the downside, that's the first thing that they're going to consider. Where is it? It's at 463. It's at 463. The liquidity pool starts at 450. On. Those moving average retailers coming in. Let's get that push. Let's get that push down. All right, that's the manipulation level there. If we look at getting micro manipulation right there at 460, can we push through into that liquidity pool right now or not? Can we push down there right now or not? I'm going to take some off into this. Can we push? Can we push down? Talking a few cents now. One more off. There you go. That's the pull. Yeah, I'm off. All right. So yeah, you can push deeper down now into that. Like I said, we can come down to that 380 area. That is how I like to trade that. Now, like I said, much prefer it up here. Further down to go, profits can be bigger. This is a buyer's hold level. This is a benchmark, so we can play down to this 360 area. But for me, that was the strongest play on the short side this morning. Clearly, with the same analysis of what was going on, I could have clearly been long from any of these after the open, right? Really, with that thesis on, is that I'm longing any pullback to liquidity, and as soon as we start missing one, that's when the aggressive move comes to that benchmark. But sometimes it's easier said than done, isn't it? Because you know those shorts are in there, right? Wilson, you was in there, right? I'm obviously not commenting on, I don't want to. I'm not going to say that short's definitely not going to work, because your short, I know you can be in and you could be out at 368 and it's done, right? So always both is on. But if you don't come to that level,
TSVT.
You would be you would be covering your short into a buy area, which makes sense. But at this point, when it doesn't get down to it and the benchmark's sitting above, that's when I get nervous. So you've come into that liquidity pool now, wicked candle on that. So the only thing that was wrong about my anticipation of this level was that it was kind of more micro. It became, instead of becoming that, it became that, right? But now you could argue we could do it again, right? So again, I'm just going to do the same thing again. That's negated because we went, but I would now draw from this low high to this low at the minute to see if there's anything else on it. So let me just draw this in. Okay, so we may or may not need this level, but it can't not draw it in because it's there. So we can fade straight down while we're stair stepping down here. So this is kind of what I anticipate as I don't know, I guess they're like my aggressive trend lines. This is the stair stepping down, this area we can come into, keep pushing all the while it's intact. All the while it breaks, you got a higher chance of going to the liquidity pool above it. Bearing in mind, we are now below benchmark 1 at this point in time, and we still have 615 and 7 that's valid. But there's more of a chance of hitting them if this one holds. Yeah, so if we do this, that's our first question mark up there as to whether or not that holds. Because if that then becomes this, then we'll be drawing again, and we'll have a question mark here. And that becomes the decision point really for me as to whether or not you get 615 or not. So you've got money flow coming in on MIM again in the liquidity pool. That is expected. Question is it enough to either push you to the liquidity pool up there or get new highs? The minute we're still in that stair stepping zone, so just need to be careful. Remember, these levels are just important as they fail as they are if they reverse. That's kind of the thing. I know it's always easy to say the market can either go up or down, right? But you generally find these levels working out more than not. And when you see a break of a level, bang, bang, bang. That's kind of what happens. And getting into it as well, coming into these benchmarks, huge amount of liquidity there. That's going to be the liquidity power of the session so far. We kind of equaled it at the very, very high. And then, like I said, we did have a little bit of call out on the tape, but not a huge amount. I think I just lost connection there. Hopefully I'm back. And that's the one. That's the one that counts there. But that's perfect for me to get into. So I could have missed that otherwise because I'd have been waiting for it to come down here to do that. But I get that touch. So now this looks like it could definitely go to higher highs or to 5-5-10 liquidity pool. But look at AHT. I feel like I'm going to miss this one if I keep going. Okay, so we are in an area where if we're going to push up and keep doing this trade, if we look at it on the 30-minute, this is how MINM started, yeah? There's benchmark 1, bogey level benchmark 2. This is how MINM started. We used that level down there. Let's just take a quick look at the MINM. See, so only difference with MINM is it didn't go for that deep look. It used the breakout first and then come back for the look and then went off. AHT used that perfect little look before it come out and then broke out. 2 minute, by the way. Don't want to spoil the party, but the 2 minute, by the way, will be benchmark 2. Can almost guarantee that. If I run this low to these highs, yeah, see? It's a pre-market running to benchmark 1 on the 2 minute. And this is where it's kind of an indication, can be an indication of whether you have an intraday play on your hands to the long side or a hold for another day, right? Because that once you've broken out, that day that MINM has just had does come. It's just when it comes, right? You can sideways above here for a couple of days, for a day, for a week, and then you hear it on the scanner. So I know AHT today. That'll be on my watch list. The next day that this pops and AHT starts getting is on either the pre-market scanners or starts getting called out to me, then it's like, okay, this could be textbook. And that's what I've got. But right now, you've got the bogey level, right? So if this is my 1, this is my 2, throw a level in the middle. That's hit the bogey level and was just 3 cents off of benchmark 2. So for today, AHT could be off the cards. Yet when you look at it, it's just broken out. Yeah, it's just peeked its head out of what we're looking at on a longer term play. So big benchmark there. I said 260, but M&M just done exactly that. 260, 290. Let's see. Right, so AHT's not been called out yet. INGN started taking the money. MINM taking another look down at the liquidity pool. So again, the stair steppers didn't quite get out of there and fails coming back down. This level is still valid. So this is a level to play. This is a level to play. This is still valid. Okay, deeper into that pool, that's level 2. There could be some buyers here, retail side. Regardless of this pool. Right, that's all 3 levels now. So are we going to push down through this to the original targets now, which would be this? So that would be, if I was still in this, I'm not, but that would be my whole cover if I had anything else left on. Wilson, do you see me dropping out if you're still on? Do I keep dropping out? So that's that third level of this liquidity pool. So I kind of leave it here, see if it does or not, but the liquidity is kind of gone. So those bids that were sitting there can still work, but it would need kind of retail to push this up now. But of course, retail is such on the short side now. Everyone knows the shorts are in the game. Okay, cool, man. All right, you've had to manage that all the way. So you've been hoping that that benchmark does short from there because you're managing from here. You was in, what, a couple of cents lower than this? God, you was praying it wasn't going to benchmark too, huh? Yeah, so you need you literally need it to come down to the liquidity pool below now. Go on then, let's see if we can't help Wilson out and get through. Let's remove the box. Let's move the box over to the right. He's done. See if we can't push that out. Get rid of them retail. There's retail levels playing that moving average play. That's the problem. You can give them some heat by dropping out, because those early buyers will just push down to this next liquidity pool. Remember that institutional liquidity, in my opinion, has left the building. Once we've got all the way through here, it can pop or drop dependent on the market participants. Level 2 and order flow now. What have we got? Come on. Still don't think there's enough up there, Wilson. You got 1,000 at 428. 1,000 at 433. 406 is the bigger bidder. 430. So now move to 413, the bigger bidder. Let's get that pushed through. Come on, there's nothing there holding this up. Just those people that kind of want to get involved on this moving average play. What have we got? Let's say I'm going to have a quick look. Come on, I want to see this drop.
CHPGF.
That's the one. Come on, that's the one. Take this. Come on. It's a pop straight down to 397. Come on. Got to do a little speed test here. I could keep see Tradecaster flash off. I wonder if my upload is giving it a little bit of grief. It certainly might now when I test it. Download's good.
Min.
No. Yeah, it's not great. 6 on upload. 5 on upload. That's what's causing.
SMR.
So we're going to have a most recent pull here out of there. So let's see what they want here.
Min. 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 Min.
Let's see if we can't get a quick rejection off of this 442.
Min.
Oh. All right, let's hope that plays down for you there at 435. Wilson, if you are still in. So I'm looking at it. Let's take a quick look, see if there's anything on these large caps to do. So Apple on the open, as we said, fell through that level, deeper into that liquidity pool, sitting right in there. It's actually a little bit further down at 184.50, but there or thereabouts. Amazon was an upside push, didn't quite make that pull. 159.03, went to 159.40, and gunning for the downside liquidity pool there again at the moment. If I was to draw some form of benchmark play in that manipulation zone where it could go to, it would be at what, 81, 154.81. That's where I'd see Amazon. Google into its liquidity pool, didn't have anything to the upside on. Oh, it was the massive zone from over there. So too busy with small cap land, but that was your play in Google. That was the short in Google. What we're now teasing with is breaking this buy zone, and it's a dual buy zone. This is the most recent one. Yeah, so that could be a short play on Google if that can get aggressive, but obviously everyone's going to be looking left at that level. But I think there's an aggressive drop from this level for a couple of dollars. So there's Google, a short of 143 at the breakout of the buy side liquidity. That is green, not red. So what we've got, see what happens on Google. Meta. What do we have on Meta? Meta didn't have anything to the upside. If I'm doing pre-market Meta, I would be doing that, you know, the pre-market swings. Where I expect them best executions to come in would be up there, around that level. Deeper into that little pool there, I believe, on MINM. So yeah, short on there, and then to bring it back to those highs, there's your buy side, and you run that off to benchmark. Really, you take that low, you take these lows and do the same as what we would do on the small caps. See if we get into that benchmark there. So there's a benchmark, push on the benchmark, and then it's come back round. So that's where we are with that. So we left the level, didn't come back for this guy. For some reason that awful sea green has come back. So we didn't come back there. And we are currently toying with potential longs in this zone here. Which was previously a sell pool. Which is a long time gone. So that is Meta. So a pullback from somewhere in here. We look for that rejection. There's a level of support holding at this first liquidity level here. And there's one further down. So there's a level here. We can drop down out of that. Or we could look to get back to 395 from there. We'll have a little look. And there. What? Just said it. There you go. Am I in a bit deeper into that liquidity pool? Yeah, having a good one. Yeah, I was. What was I on? Okay, I had the short from. It was textbook for me. This one, I'm so patient. I didn't take it long, but what can you do? But yeah, right here, shorted MINM, covered it down here at 433 ish. Yeah, it was. That was nice. I waited for that one. GHSI, I had there's pre-market trades for me, and again that one there worked out. Look at that, beautiful, beautiful play on that. It's there. This has just gone pull to pull in pre-market. That one. Put this one out early on, just in between these levels each time. Then started to hold this one up here, and then that was it. Sellers were holding. Nice, nice plays. MINM, I think, just coming back to its short liquidity. Oh, there you go, Wilson. That's what you wanted to see. You didn't want to see that one foul. Yeah, there's been a lot on these past few days. It is just like eyes everywhere. It's like when you're doing, I don't know. I'm just getting used to this. I can't trade all of them like you do. I'm just like I'm zoning on one and I'm forgetting the rest. I'm commentating on them, but I'm just forgetting the rest. Whoa, yeah, I've got a big pull down here that is good. I want to see it get into the middle of the 717, 715, somewhere like that, hopefully. I was using that topside area there to see where it's going to go. Yeah, working through those levels nicely. Definitely 44 before a pullback, I think. But if it's an all-day fade down to 6... You still in this short, Wilson? On MINM? You take that on a trend line play. Okay. GHSI. You coming in? You is that your sort of thing you've been? Well, sweet, aren't they?
SMA.
Or your is that what, or is this what you call? Would you bring that shelf along there? Is that what you call a shelf along here? And you're short from here. Either way, they both work, man. Meta. And you do that? Would you do meta on the 3 minute, or would you still look at the 1 minute on there? Are you looking at 3 minutes and going, yeah, I'm taking that? Where's the shelf? This shelf? Or you've shorted a shelf burn me. Let's have a look. Let's see if I can find a shelf. What price is shelf at? I see the trend line play. Oh right, I got you. Yeah. I see them both on GHSL,
SMA.
GHSI. Yeah. So shelf, trend line, both. AHT was taking a bit of money flow. I like this for a longer term, AHT. I think it might be like to see these buy levels hold or come a bit deeper down, but I like that to do a similar thing to what MINM done today, but we'll see. It's kind of trying to foresee the future as opposed to playing what is in front of me, but that is kind of my textbook thing that it's doing at the lows in a minute. I want to do a stream and a DJ with that. I want to get we're not allowed real guns over here, so I'll have to. I don't know what I'll do with that. I have to get a plastic one.
Please.
Oh, so you cut. Sorry, I missed your post there, Wilson. So you're in 100 still on MO, and you've covered most of it, right? Good. Glad you got yourself out of that. Yeah, I'd love to see this down at 384. I still have that 615 and 7 up there. Maybe not for today now. But it is still calling money flow. When was the last time? It's 4. What's that? What'll that be? Well, it's just 2 minutes ago. Okay, mate. Yeah, nice one, AK. Cheers, mate. EBTV, I'm going to do the same in a short while. So there's that ONMD play down into that level, back out of it. This level here was negated back here, so the new level is from this high to this low. So just hit the first 1 or 2 of that right now. So we did have levels. Did we go into this at all? No, we was just a little bit off. So we do have levels on that. That's red. Find out where I am. That's a red box right there. Yeah, so I've got levels up here above. But it's taking its time. On a higher time frame, that just looks like a triple top. Once, twice, 3 times. So I'm either just a couple of cents off with my benchmark up there, or it's teasing. It's not exactly all day faded. I did all day fade. Well, not really. No, it's just pulled back. No, this could still be good on ONMD. It'd still be good. I'm not taking it off the old radar yet.
Please.
MIM looks like at a minute, it looks like a short from here to 4. When was the last time they called money flow on still 2 past the hour. Okay, right, I think I am going to take a short. I was going to say a break, but I might take the short on MINM. 20. There's 20 cents if I can get through that level. Let's bring it back up, M-I-N-M. Meta going up out of this level. M-I-N-M. That's the crack of the level. Can it whack through? Or quick 20 cents down 5. $29, $32, $36, $35. What's the spread? Ugh. That was 10 cents on that second. So what have we got now? Oh, that's a little bit better. No. That went really wide there for a second. Oh, I'm going to hold off. That was lucky. That was lucky. Good job I drew that little one in because money flow just hit again.
Please.
Yeah, it's pushing in. I'm going to bring this one across. Comes back in as valid. That's negated. This one's over. We've taken all 3 levels out of that now. Doesn't mean it's going to go all the way to the top, but it's definitely been absorbed and pushed through. And we'll see if that's just faking out those positions just above it, those stops just above, those short stops here. Oh, a little squeeze. Okay. Good job. I did not take the short. So just that little box there kept me out of it, just because I'm thinking we need to crack. We needed to crack that little box there. Sure enough, they started calling out on the tape, and it's just pushed up from 25 to 67. All right, listen, I've got to bring this benchmark across because it's valid. It's a benchmark. They remain in place, unlike the liquidity which fades. The benchmarks just work. They just kind of remain there until really until benchmark 2's hit. I can't see where them shorts were. I can't really see where those shorts were. Not there. This one's still correct at the top, is it? Oh, 1 second. I must have. Oh, I drew that from there. We've got to move this down. That still wasn't where they were, but we've got to move this down. Oh, you know what that's gonna be. One of these jobbies. Yeah. No, it's not really that. It's just the middle of the value. It's not really that either. Can't explain the level there. Not that you need to, but kind of like normally see a level. Yeah, done. Yeah, not sure about that one. Anyway, I'm going to take a break and come back a little bit later on. And see how some of this has played out. Coming into lunchtime soon. One sec. Getting teased by this. Sure. 29. No worries, Wilson. You're welcome as always. This has got to be our 4 on the cards now.
FNGR. EVTV.
It'd be TV on the call it again, is it? Anyway, mate, I've got to take a break, right? I'll just leave it. I took about 80 cents on that previous one. I'm going to give it up for 20 on a lower risk at a bad time of day. So I'm going to knock that on in. I'll be back later on, guys. I'll see you later on. Cheers, Wilson. Cheers, AK, and everyone else that's in the room. All of you. See you later, guys.
INGN.